Hello and welcome to Policy Bazaar. I'm Arjun Bhagat. Now, most of us are able to manage multiple credit cards, bank accounts and diverse investments with ease. But how about handling different health insurance plans? Many people end up with multiple health insurance policies. It may happen that you have a health cover from an employer and as an individual, both health insurance plans. Now, in a crisis, filing for a claim can become trickier if you have more than one policy. To help us understand the relevance of multiple health insurance policies and the claim procedure, we have with us Yashish Dahiya, CEO and founder of Policy Bazaar. Welcome to the show, Yashish. First, importance of health insurance, and does it really make sense to have multiple insurance policies?
So, health insurance is increasingly a necessity now. Obviously, health costs are going to keep going up. Tertiary care hospitals are very expensive. Serious diseases can cost significant damage to financial planning for a family. And may also lead to lack of funds, which can become a very serious problem. So I think the question that why is health insurance important is sort of no longer needs to be addressed. I think that's in the public.
It has to be a given.
That has to be a given. That's in the public domain now. It's up to somebody if they are lazy not to buy it. At some unfortunate event, which is likely to happen to everybody at some point or the other, they're going to figure out what they've just missed. Right. But otherwise, I think health insurance.
So no excuses there. You have to
have
a health insurance. No excuses there.
You have to have health insurance. That time was 4 years ago when people were trying to educate you that you need health insurance. Now, that time is over. You better have a health insurance.
Does it make sense to have multiple policies? And people do end up getting them.
Now, I want to clarify that from a very simple perspective. Multiple health insurance policies can mean many things. The first one it can mean is your employer having a policy and you having your individual policy. That absolutely makes sense. Whatever coverage you get under the employer policy, you can take that. In addition to that, you can use your private policy.
That's something that you've always stressed on. If you have that, then you must have an individual
You must have an individual plan, whether you have a company plan or not, because your company is not going to be with you forever. Your individual plan will be with you forever.
So but usually what happens is that a lot of people have similar plans.
Okay, so I'll just come to that. Now, there is another thing I just want to stress upon before I get there. If you have a plan for, let's say, 3 lakh rupees, taking a critical illness plan with it, taking a hospitalization plan with it, or taking a benefit plan with it, or taking a supplementary plan with it are all good ideas. However, having 2 policies of a similar type, one for 3 lakh rupee cover, one for 2 lakh rupee cover, is a bad idea. And that is something so 2 individual plans which are not linked to your company, which basically serve the same purpose, and cumulatively have, let's say, a 5 lakh cover or a 10 lakh cover, but they are 5 lakhs each or 3 lakhs and 2 lakhs each, is a bad idea. It's from an execution perspective, it's going to put you in a lot of trouble, and I think you'll suffer it. It's much better to have a single policy covering the entire 5 lakhs or the entire 10 lakhs than having 2 separate policies.
All right, so given that,
yes,
if a person does have multiple insurance plans, has complicated one's life, as it is, life is pretty complicated. What is the settlement procedure? And IRDA has come up with new norms in its new notification.
Yes. So earlier we used to follow something called a contribution mechanism. So let's stick to the example where one policy is 3 lakh rupees, another policy is 2 lakh rupees. So total coverage one has is 5 lakh rupees. In a simple situation, one has a claim of 2.5 lakh rupees. You could ideally cover it with your 3 lakh rupee policy. However, under the previous regulations, there was a contribution clause that would kick in. That means you had used up about 50% of your total sum assured. So each of the company, in proportion to their coverage, would cover for it. So 1.5 lakh rupees will be paid by company A and about 1 lakh rupees will be paid by company B in case of a 2.5 lakh rupee claim. However, it complicates things further because each of these companies have their own sublimits, etc. So you may not get 1.5 lakh rupees from company A and you may not get 1 lakh rupee from company B either. So your total amount might be quite less. Now, there are recent regulations that have come out which say you have the ability of going to any one company and making the claim there first. And for any leftover amount, you can then go to the second company and make the claim. This eases the process quite a bit because now what it means is for a 2.5 lakh rupee claim, you can go to company A and make the entire company a claim from company A. So you can get the entire 2.5 lakh rupees paid by company A. Should there be certain sublimits, and instead of 2.5 lakh rupees, you only get paid, let's say 1,80,000 rupees, the 70,000 rupees, you can go and make the same claim on company B. However, it's a complicated process still. Because first you will have to take all your forms and doctor certificates and all your bills, go and apply to the first policy. If you have a cashless policy, great, you'll get it post discharge. You will receive the clarification and you'll get the payments. Only once that is done, and when this company has certified,
prolong the entire procedure.
The first company has to certify how much they have paid, how much is left over from the claim, and only then can you go to the second company. And why complicate your life?
Precisely.
Have a single plan that covers fully. So I would always say it complicates life if you have two.
So I guess the mindset really is that maybe that one company is not going to give me that claim, or whatever the mindset is when you decide that you want similar policies across different platforms. But let's go into some of the specifics, and you've recommended those. The add-ons.
Yes.
So to assuage that entire the confusion that one has in our mind that I need a larger cover, so let me get two policies. There's a more intelligent way of doing that, isn't it?
Yeah. See, if claims are going to be denied, they can be denied on two accounts, right? One can be you have given wrong information, and there's some kind of malintent or malified activity that has happened because of which claim is denied. The second is because of sublimits. So sublimits of various sorts which you may not be aware of, but when you go in for the medication, you suddenly realize sublimits or partial exclusions or permanent exclusions or temporary exclusions. So certain things are excluded, and hence they were part of the policy. You didn't understand it fully well when you bought it. But so in case of a malintent and the first insurance company gives you a certificate that there's a malintent and hence the claim is denied, the second insurance company will definitely look at the fact that the first insurance company has not paid that claim. So they will get linked in some way. So malintent, it won't help you having two policies or 10 policies, right? The second piece, if there are sublimits. Now likelihood is these sublimits are similar across policies. So if there's a sublimit on one, there's likely to be a sublimit on the second one. Now, they're not always the case, but just for that, to buy a second policy, I would not advise you just buy a policy which does not have sublimits. If you're worried about the room rent capping, buy a policy which does not have room rent capping. So I don't think it makes sense from that particular perspective. However, just in case you are stuck with two policies and you have to go through a claim, I'll give you a very simple thumb rule. The thumb rule is, take the claim from the policy which has more sublimits first,
right,
and take the claim from the policy which has fewer sublimits later on. That way you're likely to get a larger amount paid out compared to if you went to the policy that does not have sublimits first, because you'll exhaust your non-sublimit piece and the sublimits will apply later.
So let's talk about a comprehensive health care cover,
okay,
without getting that multiple policy.
Okay, so see, a comprehensive health care cover fundamentally covers you for life. So while it's an annual cover and next year you'll have to take the new policy, but there's a guaranteed renewability. It does not have sublimits. Ideally, when I say I have a 5 lakh rupee cover, I mean most diseases up to 5 lakh rupees are covered. Right. It will have certain exclusions. Every policy has to have certain exclusions, primarily because otherwise the malintent risk is very high. People who know they have a particular disease will get into the policy. And the exclusions are both temporary and permanent. I think before buying a policy, it is your duty to be aware of those exclusions. I think it's fairly straightforward. What are the temporary exclusions? How long are they there for? What are the permanent exclusions? How long are they there for? Now, in addition to the base policy, remember, if you have malaria and you go to a hospital, you can stay there for a week. It's going to cost you maybe 50,000, 1 lakh. You're not going to bust your policy limit for normal diseases. You're going to bust your policy limit in two conditions. One is a personal accident, and the second is a critical illness. So make sure personal accidents and critical illnesses are separate policies that you have. What you can also have is what you would call supplemental policies. So suppose, why go and buy a 10 lakh rupee policy? You can easily buy a 3 lakh rupee policy and have a 7 lakh rupee supplemental policy on top of that. What this means is till the 3 lakh rupees cost is there, you are paying for the 3 lakh rupee cover.
And you save on the premium amounts.
The premium amount of a 3 lakh plus a 7 lakh supplemental is likely to be about half that of a 10 lakh rupee policy.
And that's pretty much offered across the board.
That's pretty much offered across the board. In fact, now there are policies that are out there where you don't have to have a base policy. So I may come to a conclusion that the first 2 lakh rupees I will pay, and I only want to cover if I have a cost of more than 2 lakh rupees. And so what I can have is I can have a 10 lakh rupee policy with a 2 lakh rupee exclusion. And so the first 2 lakh rupees I will pay, and after that everything else is paid for by the company. So I'm only taking, remember, insurance is about situations you cannot afford. It's not about covering situations which you can afford comfortably. So, increasingly people will start thinking in that manner. I recently met somebody who said he wanted an unlimited policy with a 10 lakh rupee exclusion. The premium would be much lower because the first 10 lakhs is the most frequent. And the consumer will get the benefit.
Yeah, Yashish, we're talking about multiple health plans, and of course, as you've explained, it doesn't really make sense to have them. But do go into the process of filing for claims for a single and a multiple health cover that one may have.
Let's say somebody went to a hospital. Before they get into the hospital, they have to at the registration desk inform the TPA. That they're being hospitalized. They fill up that particular form. It is checked whether they have a cashless facility or a non-cashless facility. At the time of discharge, they would have all the bills, and those bills would again go to the TPA. If it's a cashless facility, within a few hours they would have got the OK, and with the OK the money would have been paid up to the sublimits. Rest they would have to settle, and then they come out. If they don't have a cashless facility, they will pay the money. And they will then carry all these bills and carry all the diagnostic reports and all their hospitalization expenses, put them together, and they file a claim form and make the claim. Now, in both cases, the process is the same. Only thing is, in one case you will pay the money, in one case you would not pay the money. In case they had two policies, they would still follow the same process. However, they would decide which of their policies they will file the claim with first.
Right.
And once that claim is through, they will get a certificate from the insurer that they have got all the details, and the same documents which they have submitted to the first insurer, after being certified, will be certified
as
a true
copy. And does that take a long time to get?
It can take up to 30 days. Is the official line. Sometimes it can take longer, sometimes it can take less time. It totally depends.
So you can't really file the next claim until you've got that certification?
Basically, you've got to submit your documents twice.
Right.
And those documents, when they're being submitted a second time, have to be certified by the first company.
Right.
That so much has been considered by the first company, and the rest now needs to be considered by the second company.
Right, right.
So the leftover is essentially settled by the second company. That's why it's complicated, and it's not worth it. You would rather go with one company.
Right. All right. It's time to take viewers' questions. We've got Jasmeet. He says, I want to purchase a term plan. I have shortlisted two companies, namely LIC and MetLife. The premium for the LIC is LIC policy is 15,000 for a 25 lakh cover, and for MetLife for the same amount is 7,000. I want to ask, why is there such a difference in the premium? Secondly, he's asking whether MetLife, is there a problem with MetLife and its claim settlements? He's heard that they're not fast enough, or they don't give all the claims. So
first of all, the two policies are very alike. There is no difference between one term policy and second term policy. Both are the same guarantees, both are the same payouts. The whole piece about claim settlement ratios, etc., is all to do with with the early claims. So any company that has more early claims, as in the first 1 or 2 years, in the first 1 or 2 years of a policy, insurance companies investigate claims. And after that, they do not investigate them very strongly, because if somebody has a premonition about their death, they could take that claim. But you can't really have a premonition about your death which is going to happen 2 years from now, and hence it doesn't make sense. So that's basically what the investigation is about, is in the first 2 to 3 years.
And a lot of the private companies are pretty new.
And any company which is new will have more claims in the first 2-3 years, and hence will have a bad claims ratio. So the whole claims ratio thing doesn't add up to too much.
The question about the difference in the premium is a valid question.
The difference in the premium is there, and my advice is, you are buying this product for your sense of comfort. Whether you pay 7,000 or whether you pay 15,000 for a 25 lakh rupee cover, it's not a very significant amount of money that you pay for a term cover anyway, right? And one's got to be comfortable. So if after buying a MetLife policy, in your heart you're not going to be comfortable and you're not going to sleep well, you might as well buy the LIC policy. But that's more of a personal thing. If you ask me as a professional, I think, of course, go for the MetLife policy because it's cheaper. Go for the cheaper plan. There's no doubt about it. So as a professional, that's the answer. As a friend, yeah, be comfortable, sleep well at night, buy it from the policy company that you're comfortable with. What's the big deal?
Right. We've got Manas Lakhani. He says, I'm looking to start my annual investments for tax savings. So do help me with a good investment plan. He is looking to save about 1 lakh. He wants good returns. He says, I'm 35 years old and he can invest up to 1 lakh in insurance. And he wants to pay for the next 15 years only. And he's asking whether an endowment plan makes sense for him.
No, I would not think an endowment plan makes sense for him. If he's looking at a 15-year kind of time frame, it is, you don't get FDs for 20 years. You get FDs for only 10 years. So anything above 10 years, an endowment plan becomes pretty much the only option for you, unless you want to go the PPF route, which has a 15-year lock-in. However, if he really wants advice, my advice would be go with the markets. The markets have given you a very good return over time. If you look back 10 years ago, the market was at 3,500. Today it's at 21,000, despite the last 5 years, whatever's been going on. If you look 20 years back, the market was at 1,200 or 1,500. So all I'm saying is the market keeps moving. At every 20-year intervals, you will get, 7-8 times returns. So why would you want to go with guaranteed returns over such a long period of time? And there are very low-cost ULIPs. So I would advise him to consider extremely low-cost ULIPs and go for those. If he is really bent on endowments, there are lots of plans available. They're mostly around 20-year time frame. Post, including the tax benefit. If you were to add back the tax benefit, he can earn up to 7.5%, and that's a very good return. That's not a bad return at all. Over a 10-year FD, he can earn more. But remember, 10 years from now, the FDs will have, hopefully, they will have a much lower interest rate, because globally the interest rates are down to 2%, 1%. So over time, the interest rates are likely to come down, specifically over a long period of time. You don't have 20-year FDs. So a 20-year endowment is likely to beat FDs over that time frame. And you are getting a 7.5% return if you consider the tax benefit back in. So endowment is not a bad plan over a 20-year period. And but ULIPs are better, in my view.
Right, Yashish, we've got Sumit, and he says he's planning to take a term plan from ICICI, and he already has a term policy. He hasn't told us from where, and he also has 2 endowment policies from LIC. So he's basically asking your take on a second term plan.
I think it's perfectly fine to take a second term plan. Life stage changes. When he may have bought the first policy, he might be 25 years old. He might have had a certain income. Now today he's 35. His income might be higher. His responsibilities might be higher. So taking a second plan is not a bad idea. He might take the second plan for up to 20 years, so that from 35 to 55, he's got a second plan kind of covering him. And by the time he's 55, his liabilities probably have come down. Children might be married. They may be off on their own way or educated. And, he would be heading towards retirement. That is the time when he would be investing more and more into retirement planning, etc. And, so a second policy is perfectly fine. And it serves that particular purpose of a higher economic value and a higher term cover required during these next 20 years.
Right, Yashish. Now, what about disclosures made? Because, would Sumit have to make those disclosures?
Absolutely, 100%. So when you're buying a new policy, specifically a term policy, a life insurance policy, a pure life insurance policy, you must disclose which other policies you have prior to that, both endowment, ULIPs, so all kinds of investment plans, as well as your risk policies like your life insurance policies. So any other life insurance policy that he has, he must disclose, and it's a necessity because that's considered during the underwriting.
Right, we've got Vineet Kansal from Srinagar, and he asks about health portability, whether it's beneficial or not, and how should he go about that?
Well, health insurance portability is very, very beneficial for you. There has been a lot of innovation in the health insurance sector. About 7-8 years ago, we started hearing about cashless settlements. Today, we hear about restore benefits, critical illness plans. So there's a lot of innovation happening in the health insurance sector, primarily run by the health insurance specialists, and some of the general insurance companies also now starting to get their act together in terms of innovation. So as this innovation happens, you can only get the benefit of these new plans as well as the continuity of your existing plans if you have health portability. Otherwise, every time you move from one plan to the other, you lose the benefit of continuity. And hence, to take advantage of the fact that you've had a policy for so long, as well as the innovation that's happening in the market, it makes total sense to look around and switch over to the best plans possible as the innovation is happening in the market. And that is only beneficial to the consumer. It's not harmful in any way, because you don't have to take advantage of them.
Yeah, but don't give up on your first policy before
Don't give up on your first policy before, yeah. Right. And again, it's not harmful to you because it's not mandatory. But should you find an option, yeah, move ahead.
Right, Yashish, that's all the time that we have on Policy Bazaar. But do keep watching. And also, you can write your queries at ask.policybazaar.com. You can tweet us at policybazaar_in. And we'll see you next time. Goodbye.